Today will be a day to remember for the rest of your life. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is excited to present the Heart of a Hall of Famer program connected by Extreme Networks. With over 100 Hall of Famers participating, we have reached 47 states and countries all over the world, sharing the message that football is more than a game and can teach Americans important life values like commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty.
But you have to make right decisions even when nobody's watching you.
Well, respect is not just given out. It's not handed out like a brochure. It's earned.
Today, you are presented with an opportunity to meet and learn from one of the greatest football players of all time. But more important than that, the chance to see that their Hall of Fame life wasn't given to them. They didn't roll out the bed great. They put the work in, on the field, in the weight room, in the classroom, in their communities. They made themselves a Hall of Famer on and off the field.
Your feet can't take you where your mind's never been.
Because you can make it, but it's just gonna take a little hard work and some effort and the drive and determination.
And today, you will learn you can do the same thing they did. You don't have to have a gold jacket or a bronze bust to make a difference in the lives of others. It's your decision whether you want to be a successful student, son, daughter, brother, or sister.
If attitudes are contagious, is your attitude worth catching?
It's integrity as well, because when you decide to pursue something and you don't quit, that says a lot about you.
Commitment to excellence. We can all aspire to be the best.
Welcome to a once-in-a-lifetime program, the Heart of a Hall of Famer program, connected by Extreme Networks.
In my NFL career, when I went to the Los Angeles Rams, I went there with high hopes. I never forget when I got there on draft day, as I stood there holding my jersey. At that time, it was number 25, and I changed it later because I wanted to be number 29. I told him, I said, I hope I'm not going to be a savior. I just want to come and play football. And that's really what I wanted to do. I mean, I wanted to be the best that I could possibly be. And the thing about it is when I went in on the field and I played with guys like Jackie Slater, Herb Pankey, all those guys, I mean, it was phenomenal. I just cannot tell you the feeling when you hit the field with guys that you know that's giving 150%. I thank God for the opportunity to play in the National Football League, by all means. Everything that happens, like I say, happens for a reason. My friends that were there when I was playing as a young player, guys like Charles Drayton, who I went to school with, who would say was my biggest fan. It was nothing like having a best friend you could talk your problems to, and let him hear what you were thinking. Thank you very much.
All right, with that, I'd like to welcome everybody to Lusinger High School here in Los Angeles, California, the site of the NFL kickoff game. Tomorrow, we kick off the newest NFL season between the Los Angeles Rams and the Buffalo Bills. But we're here a day earlier, jumping the gun, to start our program at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the Heart of a Hall of Famer program connected by Extreme Networks, featuring today the man sitting here beside me, Hall of Famer, Mr. Eric Dickerson. My name is Jake Ray. I'm the Youth and Education Manager at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, and I'll be asking the questions today, moderating the program. And before we get started, a little bit of information about who we are at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Our mission at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is to honor the heroes of the game, to preserve its history, to promote its values, and to celebrate excellence together. And those values we talk about all the time: commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty. Not only did those values make Mr. Dickerson here a Hall of Famer, give him that gold jacket, but it makes football players, Mr. Dickerson including that, better people off the field, makes them great men, great members of their community, members of their family. The game of football is so special because of all the great values that it teaches. And we're going to talk a little bit about those today, on how those values help our Hall of Famer here on and off the field. Before I do get started, some thank yous I'd like to pass out. First and foremost, to our great partners at Extreme Networks. Thank you so much for everything you do for us at the Pro Football Hall of Fame and everything you do for schools all over the country. Without your support today, this program could not take place for us and for all the students we have tuned in today. Secondly, teachers, administrators, anybody that allowed us to come into your classroom remotely today, and then obviously in person here at Losing Your High School. Thank you so much for all your support and help. We're super excited to just be a small part of the students' learning experience this year. And then I want to thank all of our students who are tuned in today. We're excited. You know, nobody wants to hear me talk for an hour. Nobody wants to hear me ask questions. We want to hear the questions that you have. So we're going to be able to go get questions from our students here in California and truly all over the country today to hear some of the questions from the great students we have tuned in. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, we've got people watching us on Zoom. Ask us questions in the chat. We got people we're going to be going live to get some questions. But if you're watching us on Facebook, throw a question there in the comment section and we'll do our best to make it a part of the program today. And then lastly, no matter where you are watching, make sure to share your photos and videos online on all your social platforms. On all platforms, tag at ProFootballHOF and use the hashtag HOF values, and your post just might be reshared today. So enough of me talking. Let's introduce our Hall of Famer today, Mr. Eric Dickerson. Eric, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
We're super excited to have you here today, especially right in the backyard here. A little bit of a drive, but kind of in your backyard here in Los Angeles, where you spent a good part of your career. And every time we start the program, just to kind of gauge how important the values are, we like to talk about, you know, those 5 values: commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty. As a person who excelled at the game at such a high level, reached the pinnacle at the individual level, becoming a Hall of Famer, how did those values impact your career? And is there one that you see more important than the others, or are they all just like a team and work together?
Well, I think it's like a team. You've had to put them all together. I mean, one thing, no one has the perfect life and no one does everything perfectly. You try to do it the best you can. You know, just like playing football, you can't do it by yourself. You can be a great running back, but if you don't have the guys up front, it's not gonna work. You can be a great quarterback, if you don't have the receivers in the offensive line, it's not gonna work. So I think all of it kind of works together for sure, to really have one mission, and that's to be great at whatever you do. It's not about football, it's about, you know, whatever you do in life and how you want to approach life.
Was there a moment in your career where that stood out to be more prevalent than other times, or was it just something that was reoccurring that once you got into the game, you knew it was going to be a part of it, you know, every day you walked into the facility?
You know, I can't say, you know, because, you know, it's more to life than football. You know, you learn a lot from football because it's such a team sport. You know, it's not an individual sport. You know, I can think of one time when I was in college and I was at SMU and I was splitting time. I didn't like it at first. I didn't like it. You know, it became part of the Pony Express, my friend Greg James. And I won't forget one time, because I told my best friend Charles Drayton, I said, they're messing over me, man. I said, man, I could be getting all kind of yards. You know, I said, you know, I'm not playing enough. And I won't forget, he said to me, he said, Dick, if you're as good as you say you are, he said, you'll do more with less carries. I said, I'm gonna show you how good I am. And I went on to show just how good I was.
You know, there's a lot of different ways. You know, we've got the football team here in front of us for those of you that can't see all the great crowd we got here. But every individual, I guess, needs coached a certain way. Some people need that motivation. Some people just need to stick to themselves. So throughout your career, you know, what kind of player were you? Were you somebody that needed, but did you need to watch film, you know, every free minute of your life? Did you need that extra motivation? And how did that transform throughout your career as you navigated through high school, college, and eventually the NFL?
No, you know, we didn't watch film like they do now. I wish you would have. You know, you learn more from watching film, you know, because there were old projectors and all that kind of stuff. You had to wind it up.
These kids have no idea about.
No, they don't know what that is. But no, really, I mean, truly, you just have to be committed to what you want to do. I mean, that's what it came down to, is how much time you want to put into it, how much time you want to put in the weight room. If you want to watch film, if you want to, you know, work out, if you want to go out partying. I mean, that's what it really came down to. What was your goal? What was the end goal? And for me, the end goal was, I didn't know football was going to be it. I had no idea. But whatever I did, I wanted to be really good at it, and I wanted to be the best. And I played all sports. I ran track, I played baseball, football. But football and track is the one I excelled at. And my dad had a saying. He said, "Son, all that you do what you might. Things done by halves are never done right." Ooh. And I always believed that you put 100% into it, and I always did. Even I think some of these young men and women, girls who are listening, you know, it's times when you're not happy. you're not happy. But that doesn't stop you from putting 100% into what you're doing.
Absolutely. For those of you who don't know, like you said, we're here at Lusinger High School, just I think southwest of LA. The home to current Laker and NBA All-Star Russell Westbrook. We're at his alma mater here. Russell's not here, unfortunately. So Russ, if you're watching, thanks for having us here. But I want to talk a little bit about, because obviously, you look at somebody like Russ who's really involved in this community and giving back. How important is, after your career or even during your career, to kind of give back to that community you're living in? You obviously went from Texas to California, a change in location, had to adapt to that, adapt to a new environment. How is important to you is to get engaged with that community once you're at your NFL team, or for folks here at their school?
I think it's very important that you get known in the community by doing stuff in the community, because once upon a time, all of us I was just like these young men sitting here. I was a young kid. I was 17, 16 years old. I know it's hard to believe, but I was. And people come in and talk to you, and sometimes you sit there and you slouch and like, oh man, I don't want to hear this, man. I want to hear. But the truth is, it's always something you can take from that. It really is. And giving back is big. I mean, it really is, because you want to touch somebody's life in some kind of way, in a good way. Okay, we did a program here in LA when I first got to the Rams. I think it was 1984. We did a program called the Dickerson Rangers. It was Say No to Drugs. And we did all the parks and recreation. We'd have sometimes 500 kids out there, talking to them and doing all kind of stuff. And about 5, 6 years ago, I was at my house. I'm down the street from my house at the store. And a guy he had a FedEx uniform on. He walked up and said, "Eric Dickerson." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, I want to tell you, you changed my life." And I'm like, he said, "I was a Dickerson Ranger." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yes, sir." He said that a lot of my friends who went to prison, some are dead, got in gangs. He said, "Because of that program, I have a wife, I have a kid, and I have a career. So I want to thank you for that." Man, stuff like that makes it different. I mean, I said, man, I just got to give you a hug. 'Cause, that meant the world to me, him just say that, because you never know who you can touch by just sometimes a small gesture.
Yep, that's all it takes. Whether it's picking a book up in a hallway for a student, or putting trash in the trash can, it's those little things in life that truly can go a long way. We're going to get some of the questions from our students now, and like always, we're going to start with the students right here in front of me in LA. So whoever's got a question, raise your hand. Don't be shy. All right, go ahead. What's your question? So his question, for those of you that didn't hear that, was ever played with or against? The best person you ever played with. That list has got to be long. You heard a lot in your speech right there.
That's a tough one. That's a great question. But played with. It's hard to leave guys off. I mean, I think a guy that I played with was offensive lineman, my friend Jackie Slater from the Los Angeles Rams. He played 20 years. Jackie was a guy with, commitment. He watched film, tried to keep us in line. He's older than me, but that was a guy that I really enjoyed playing with, that I looked up to as a young player. And I played against some great players. I'm gonna say I played against the Lawrence Taylors, the Ronnie Lotts. Lawrence Taylor probably, if not the greatest linebacker, one of the greatest linebackers I've ever played against. So I played against great players, but I played with great players also on my same football team.
We like to use the term "welcome to the NFL moment," and you mentioned guys on defense you had to go up against: Ronnie Lott, Lawrence Taylor. Was there a moment for you when you realized that you were in the big leagues now? What was that? All right, I'm in the NFL. Welcome to the NFL moment for you.
Well, I will tell you, we played the New York Jets. It was, I think, my 4th football game of the season. And going down to that game, my friend Leroy Irvin talked about a defensive back who was on the team. He said he ran a 4.3 40. And he said, "Eric, if you break, he can probably catch you." I said, "Leroy, he ain't gonna catch me." I said, "I'm fast." And so, because he said, "Eric, you're too big to be fast." I said, I was a track guy. Make a long story short, you showed it on that. I had an 85-yard touchdown run. So that game in particular, it was late in the game. Like the lights had popped on, and it was smoke around the top of the stadium with the lights. Won't forget it. Vince Ferragamo called the play. It was a pass play. And he said, "Eric, if I don't see anything downfield, I'm coming to you." I said, "Okay." So sure enough, he drops back, and like I said, it was just a moment where you could see the smoke. All of a sudden, all I could see was the horn going back and forth. He's doing it, looking for something, back and forth, back and forth. all of a sudden I saw his arm come over the top, and before the ball came out, I'm like, wow, I'm in the NFL. The card I picked up, I think I picked up like 20 yards, and that was my like real, just like an aha moment in the National Football League.
That sounds like it should be an intro to a movie. Like I could see, the picture you just painted was awesome.
I mean, it was an awesome day. I've had great moments in the National Football League, but that moment right there was just the biggest moment for me.
All right, we're going to send it out to some of our schools now who all over the country, and we're going to start with Marion St. Mary's back in Ohio for our next question. So go ahead, have your student step up to the microphone. Go ahead and unmute, and then have your student ask their question here for Eric Dickerson.
Was there a teacher?
I want to start again.
Was there a teacher that inspired you at our age?
So teacher, so pretty young, looks like we got elementary age there. Looking back on your schooling, was there a teacher that left an impact on you?
Yeah, I would say that was a few teachers, but I think one in particular was a coach, and he was a teacher. I was in 7th grade. I can't think of his name right now. Oh God, Coach Stissel was his name, Coach Stissel. And I like Coach Stissel. He taught us, taught me how to play football, but you know what? He taught me how to be a good teammate, and always, put education first. That was a big thing for him. He said, look, son, because no one thought about playing pro football from a little town in Texas. He says, your education comes first, but being a good teammate is very important, and being a good human being. So most definitely that guy for me was Coach Stissel.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna go to our next school now. We're gonna go out to Jonesboro High School down in Arkansas for our next question. So whenever you're ready there in Jonesboro, have your student step up to the mic and go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, so what character qualities do you think it took to be successful in all areas of life?
What he said.
Can you go ahead and repeat that for us?
What character qualities do you think it takes to be successful in all areas of life?
So what character qualities do you think it takes to be successful, not only on the field, but in all areas of life?
Honestly, that's a great question. I think one thing is you have to be true to yourself. Be true to yourself and be honest. Be honest. Treat people the way you want to be treated. That was big for my dad. I think the one thing about being a good man or a good woman, a good person, is being a man or woman of your word. If you say something, try to stick to your word. Now, look, sometimes you can't for different reasons, but always try to be a person of your word. If you say, I'm gonna do something, do what you say you're gonna do. As they say what you do and do what you say.
We've mentioned a little bit about community already, and I want to touch on all the great work you're doing with your Young Warriors Foundation. So talk a little bit about what it is, how it got started, and then some of the things you're currently doing right now in the community.
Matter of fact, it got started from my friend Jason Hill. Matter of fact, we were sitting talking about it last night, how the curriculum is changing some, because he was in LA Unified School Districts. He was a guy that came up in a drug-infested home. He said, Eric, I was 8, 9 years old, and my mother was a drug addict, my sister was a drug addict, my grandmother was a drug addict, and I was becoming a drug addict. That's not what I wanted for my life. And he had a program that he mentored young men, young boys, but we're gonna change the program to boys and girls. And he said, I just wanted more. And so it's a program to teach young men how to be men, basically, young men, how to go out and say, look, you're not, thank you very much. As a matter of fact, about 4 years ago, we took all the kids to Fleming's restaurant. You had to have a jacket. We bought you a jacket. Some kids had never had a white napkin, how to sit down. Thank you very much. Just to really interact and learn how to one day, go, if you want to get a job, how to go for a job interview, how to dress for a job interview, how to talk to people. So the program curriculum is that right now, but it's changing a lot. And we've done a lot here in LA. Matter of fact, we have a golf event coming up October 18th at Moore Park Country Club to raise money for the foundation. The foundation is, like I said, I've been with the foundation about 5 years, and it's doing very well. But we can always use more help. And the thing we need help with is volunteers. We need men to volunteer, and also women, because we've changed the curriculum to also for girls and boys.
How have you seen, and we don't have to dive into any details because I know that this stuff is really personal for a lot of people involved. but have you seen the impact? Have you seen lives change and fathers and sons and mothers and daughters become closer because of the work that you're doing? And, you talked about, you mentioned that first, the welcome to your NFL moment and how cool that was. I can assume that when you see that father son come together, it's just as cool, if not even better.
It is. It's cool because the mothers the mothers had to go through the program with their son, because like I said, it was all just boys to go through the program with their son, because they had no dads in the household. It was just a mom. It was a mom, and it's amazing how guys would talk about, I wish I had a dad. I wish I had a father in my household. I went to do a deal a couple of years ago at a prison outside of LA, and it was about 80 prisoners, and we talked to the prisoners, and they had them all stand up and said, we want all the prisoners that didn't have a man in the household to step forward. Out of about 80 guys, I think about 75 of them stepped. They didn't have a father in the household, and they talked about it, how important it is. And even myself right now, I see how important it is for me to be in the household with my young son, because when his mom says something, it's one way. When I say, hey boy, yes sir, it's a difference. It really is. So, it's most definitely when you see those moments with a parent, like I said, mostly it's the mom, the single mom, and mom can't be everything. Mom can't be dad. Mom can't teach them sometimes how to play baseball, play football, and how to be a man. So you do need a man in the household to teach a young man how to be a man. It's like a man can't teach a woman, a little girl, how to be a girl. Yeah, she needs some mother for that.
That's awesome, and it's so cool to hear, and I'm sure it's very equally cool to see the impact that you have. We're here today with Hall of Famer Mr. Eric Dickerson. He's got the gold jacket on, one of the that signifies he's a Hall of Famer. And while that's widely known, what may be the most widely known thing that says, hey, I'm a Hall of Famer, is that bronze bust. So we thought, what better way to show that and then go straight live to the Pro Football Hall of Fame and to our museum in our Hall of Fame gallery with the Director of Youth and Education, Mr. Jerry Shockey, who is standing in front of a bust that probably looks fairly familiar to you. So Jerry, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Jake, thank you very much. Mr. Dickerson, good to see you. And thank you for taking your time out of your busy day to connect with students across the country. And I don't know, students that are tuned in from across the country. I mean, I'm 44 years old. I never had the opportunity to have an all-time great football player or athlete or anything, be able to connect into your classroom and talk to you about what it takes to be great. So this is just an amazing opportunity. We are blessed with the Hall of Fame here as a staff, Jake and myself and Nathan, to be able to afford these opportunities to you guys. And we take this very seriously, and we are excited to be able to bring this opportunity to you guys here today. But I want to give you an idea of just how elite Mr. Dickerson is here. As you can see behind me, this bronze bust, there's a whole gallery of them here. Think about this just for a second. There are 300, since the game started, there have been about 300 million people that have played at all levels, Little League, high school, college, NFL. 5 million have played at the college level. Over 29,000 people have been paid to play, coach, or officiate the game in the NFL. Out of that, there are only 362 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And so that gives you an idea of just how elite these players are. And certainly we can go through, as you've already heard some of them, we can go through the stats, the 13,000 plus yards, 11-year career, all the Pro Bowls, all these other things that go in to describe the accolades of Mr. Dickerson. But one person he touched on just a few moments ago was his teammate, Jackie Slater. And something that we talk about quite often here, Mr. Dickerson, about the game of football that's unique to any other sport, is it's the only game that one person can't dominate. You can't take it over. You have to have good teammates. And so can you talk about specifically, because he's literally over my other shoulder, right, 5 feet away from you here, on the other side, Jackie Slater. And I know Jackie personally. I've known him. I've been here for 23 years, and I know the type of person he is. So I can only imagine how he helped you as a young player. Can you talk about the importance in your life of having a mentor like Jackie Slater, but also why you think that's important for all of us, even at 44 years old, that I have mentors in my life, Jake has mentors, and why these young people should get mentors in their life?
I think it's important to have a mentor, because you as a young man or a young woman, you think you know everything when you're young. You think, oh, man, Mama don't know, daddy don't know. Don't know mom and daddy done did that before, but you don't listen to your parents. Mom and daddy, they don't know. So some of you think they don't know. When you got someone outside of this that's a mentor to you, it can really mold you. It can really change things in your life, because then you look back from someone else's perspective that's really not in your household. Like for me, that guy was a guy named James Abernathy. People call him Shaq in my hometown. He was from my hometown. He was from a town over called Brookshire Royal. And he loved sports. And I'd quit playing football. And I won't forget, he came and talked to me about going back and playing football. And I'm so glad I did, because I won't forget, he took me around my town. The town was 2,000 people. Eric, he said, I heard you quit football. I said, yeah, I'm gonna make the story short. And he said, let me ask you, son, what do you see in this town? And we rode around in the car. It was a hot summer day. I said, I don't see nothing. He said, exactly, Eric, it's nothing here. He said, it's one red light. He said, Eric, he said, let me tell you something, son. He said, you're one of the best football players we've ever seen in these parts. I was a sophomore in high school. I didn't see it. So someone saw something in me that I hadn't seen. He said, go back and play sports. He said, that could be your way out of here. He said, and you can help other people come out of this area. He said, I'm telling you. He said, we just see something great in you. And for me, that guy was James Abernathy. And when I got to the National Football League, that guy for me was Jackie Slater. He was always talking to us, you guys stay out of clubs, you guys do this. Because you want to go out and do all kinds of stuff. You guys be more like men. You have responsibility, you have teammates. So for sure, like I said, the National Football League, my 11-year career playing with Jackie Slater was a great honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dickerson. Jake, I'm gonna send it back to you.
Awesome, thanks, Jerry. A cool look in there. You talk about Jackie, and you've seen, talk a little bit about you having mentors, but there comes a point especially in football, when you are on the flip side of that. Now you're the vet. Now you're the one. So was there somebody that you took under your wing, or what are the things you learned from your mentors that then you were able to apply to that next generation of talent that came into the league?
Well, I've talked to quite a few players, mentor, I'm gonna say mentor, but just talk to them, they ask me, man, what do you, how do you be a professional? One guy I can think of particularly was Todd Gurley when he came to the Rams. I won't forget, me and Todd went to a Laker game, to watch the Lakers play. And going up to the game, people recognized me, and they hadn't started recognizing Todd yet. And I was signing autograph, and I was saying, this is Todd Gurley. Oh, they Todd Gurley. So, they wanted to get his autograph. And we walk in, I said, Todd, I said, I'm gonna tell you something. I said, always be a great person toward the fans. I said, the fans who make us. I said, I think sometimes we have a tendency to think that we make ourselves. I said, but the fans are who make us. I say, sign autographs when you can, take pictures when you can. I said, I'm gonna tell you, because people don't forget. They really don't. And he said, Eric, I will always do that. And when I see Todd now, when people come up and ask him for his autograph, I say, you ain't forgot. He said, I never forgot what you told me. So I think that's very important.
Very cool. And it's like, that's not, life-changing advice. It's just one little thing that can truly make somebody's life different, day different, whatever it might be.
It really can. It can make a person's whole day or change their whole day. I won't forget, I was going to, it was a Rams football game at the Coliseum, and was walking through the crowd, and I'll sign autographs and I'll take pictures with as many people as I can. And there was one lady in particular, I won't forget her. She saw me and she started crying, and she had my jersey on. She had a jersey on. She said, I just got to tell you this. I got to tell you. She said, my dad loved you. He loved you. He said, even when we buried him in your jersey, he said, that's how much he loved you. He said, would you please sign my jersey? I'm like, oh, no doubt. I mean, that's easy. So like I say, just sometimes the little stuff like that is life-changing for some people.
I got some pretty fun Facebook questions coming here from our audience. And if you're watching, get those questions submitted. Our first one is from Calvin, and it's kind of a fun one. The hardest hit you ever took in your career? Who was that guy?
All of them. Well, I got two. I got one. We played in the NFC Championship, playing the Chicago Bears, and it was a play where it was a 3rd and 1. It was a big play in the game. The H-back was coming in motion to go inside and block on Mike Singletary. And Richard did say, my friend Richard did, he's a Hall of Famer too. He said, we knew the play. He knew what the play was because y'all ran the ball so much. He said, so my job was to knock Mike Goodwin off line and give Mike a clear run at you. And sure enough, I got the ball. And I saw him coming, but I thought Mike was going to get him. And he was like, and we hit. Just like that. We hit. All of a sudden, They bent me back, you know. And I won't forget, I got up. I mean, I saw the little stars, like the little stuff, the two rainbows. I went to the sideline and said, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right." What's your name? I said, "Eric Dickerson." "Where you at?" I said, "In Chicago." "What's your date of birth?" I said, "I have no idea." And I don't know how I remember those questions. So, but and then once the running light got me really good too. But I said, I got Mike back later. Yep. Ronnie got me really good. We had a game. We were kind of arguing and doing the game, and it was a play. I got a picture, man. It's a beautiful. It's a nice shot. I'm in the air. It's 49ers players here, but I'm not looking at them. I see him coming, and I had a blackjack. I'm trying to get back down on the ground before he gets to me. So he got me in my rib cage, and he hit me. I jumped. He said, "I got you." I said, "You didn't know." I said, "I got you." I said, "No, you didn't." So I go back to the huddle, and Ben Sparagamo called a run, but I said, "Oh no, he got me." So those hits I remember for sure.
How cool is it to go through those moments? And obviously there's a huge level of respect when you're playing for those players. But now fast forward 20 plus years, and now you're teammates with them in the Hall of Fame. How fun is it to go back and have these conversations with these guys who were, teammates of yours, opponents of yours that you respected, when you all get to sit down in the room and just talk together.
Man, it's the best because you talk about those plays. You talk about like me and Ronnie talked about that play because a couple of plays later, it was to help win the game. We had to get in field goal range, and Ronnie came up and I ran over him, and you don't run over Ronnie a lot. No. And he said, "My son said, Dad, I ain't never seen you get ran over." He said, "That's a big back." It's so good to have those moments to laugh and talk about when we played against each other and make fun of each other. Oh man, like with Lawrence Taylor, I tell him, I said, "Man, all you want to do is pass rush. We ran at you to keep you tied up. Oh man, y'all never beat us." I said, "We beat y'all all the time. Y'all just beat us when it counted." So I mean, those are all the fun times to laughing and talking with the players.
We just are about a month out of our annual Enshrinement Week powered by Johnson Controls that we have in Canton, and you were in town to celebrate the new class of 2022. And one of the things you brought with you was a bunch of copies of your new book, Watch My Smoke, which I think is an A+ title for a book. So when what was that process like? And, we were talking a little bit before we went live about, books obviously aren't a huge thing anymore. Not a lot of people are reading. So everybody's reasoning on why they, write a book or put a book out is a little bit different. So walk us through that process. What was that like? And, were you happy with the result at the end of the day?
Well, first of all, I was very happy with the result of the book. When I read the book, the script that he gave me to read, the little manuscript before it came out, I read it. I had a couple of writers that wrote stuff. We tried a couple of guys, and like one guy wrote something and said, like I said, like, "Golly gee whiz." I'm like, "Oh no, that doesn't sound like me." I'm not talking like that. A book has to sound like you. So when I read the manuscripts that Greg had given me, I'm like, "Oh, this sounds just like me. Sounds just like me." The reason I wrote the book because my kids, my oldest daughter Erica, and my youngest daughter, my son, Kira and Dallas. Like my daughter said, "Dad, tell me a story." I make up a story. I make up a story about a horse. I make up a story about a haunted house. Like, "Dad, you're just the best storyteller. You tell such great stories." And so, I never thought about it. And then, we'd be at the golf course playing golf, and guys, we started talking about football and life. And I would tell, just like I did talk about Shaq and James Abernathy. Like, "Big man," he said, "Man, you need to write a book, man." He said, "Man, some of this stuff, man, people don't even know. I mean, they don't even know your life, really your real life, some of your real life stuff." So I thought about it, and then my kids would say, "Dad, you should write a book." And that's how it came about. And really, when I say I'm very pleased with it, I got to say Greg Hanlon is a writer. He did such a great job writing my book. Matter of fact, he's doing my friend Christian Okoye's book right now. It sounds just like me. The stories in the book are real. I mean, everything in that book is nothing made up in the book. And I'm very proud of it. I mean, I did the audio version also. I did the read for the book. Now that is a whole different animal. That's hard. Let me tell you something. You're sitting there reading for hours, and all of a sudden the words start running together. You say, hold up, man. Like,
we need to take a break.
It takes time, but I think the best part of it is because it's in my voice. When I talk about my parents, my dad, it's me talking about my dad. The emotion me talking about my dad. I'm talking about my mom, about me playing football, the good parts of the game. and the bad parts of the game also. You know, I'm talking about it, not a guy reading it. It's me reading it, so I know how I felt about it.
Awesome. So go out, buy it, watch my smoke, right? Watch my smoke. All right. We're gonna head out to another school for our next question. We're gonna go out to Orangewood. We got them connected in. So our folks there at Orangewood, go ahead and have your students step up to the microphone, unmute, and then go ahead and ask your question.
What is your advice to kids who want to make the world a better place?
Can you repeat that one more time for us?
What is your advice to kids who want to make the world a better place?
What is my advice for kids? That's a great question, young lady. You know, I go back to what I said earlier. You know, just treat people the way you want to be treated. I don't think anyone would say, you know what, I want you to treat me bad. I want you to talk bad to me. I mean, I want you to be dirty, just be a dog. No, you treat people the way you want to be treated. I mean, that's really it. I mean, I think for as our fellow man, sometimes you don't think about people's feelings. I mean, everybody has feelings. I always give an example. They talk about as an athlete, you know, you go into a hostile stadium, people booing you, throwing stuff at you, you know, saying all this negative stuff. I said, think about this here. How about if that's your son or your daughter? How you feel they're talking about your daughter like that or your son like that? All of a sudden they're like, I never thought about that. I say, right, we have feelings too. We have a mom and a dad. So I would say, you know, just treat people the way you want to be treated and be a good person, you know, be a good-hearted person. I think that's the big thing for me.
We're gonna go to our next school now. We got one more school we're gonna get to here. We got to go out to, let me get my notes here. I believe it's Carl Harvey Elementary out here in California for our next question. So go ahead and have your students step up to the microphone and go ahead with their question.
Hi, my name is Heaven from Carl Harvey Elementary School in Santa Ana, California. Who were your heroes growing up?
Can you step a little bit closer to the mic for us?
Hi, my name is Heaven from Carl Harvey Elementary School in Santa Ana, California. Who were your heroes growing up?
Hey, there, can you have come up and repeat that question for us, please?
She wants to know, who were your heroes growing up?
Who were your heroes growing up?
Who was my hero growing up? Honestly, my dad. I mean, I gotta say, my dad was my hero. My dad was the best man that I knew. I mean, he passed away when I was 17 years old. I was heartbroken. But before as my hero, I gotta say, I didn't have like Batman and all that, Superman and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I want to be like my dad. You know, I want to be like him. Now, you know, I try to be as much like him as I possibly can. He was a good Christian man. I know I'm falling short of the mark sometimes, but my dad was my hero.
We talked a little bit about our enshrinement week, powered by Johnson Controls, and you being back, but let's flash back to that phone call. Where were you? What was going on when you got the notification that you were going to be a Hall of Famer? And what was that moment like for you?
It was a little different, you know. It's not
there's
fancy
no
like
no knocks on the door anymore.
I wouldn't know that. Matter of fact, it was in Miami. I was going to be in Miami for Super Bowl. And someone from the Hall of Fame called me and said, "Hey, Erica, you going to be a Super Bowl?" I said, "Yeah, I'll be in Miami." They said, "Will you mind coming over to, I'll say, the convention center or wherever they were doing it? They're going to announce the Hall of Famers. If you don't mind, we'll have you in the back. And if you get in, you'll have you come out. If not, you just stay in the back." I'm like, okay. So me and three of my buddies, me, my boy Mike Fisher, I went to college with, one of my best friends, Randy Mondello. We go over, and sure enough, the guy would come in and say, you know, they got to get down to different, you know, levels. They're dropping guys. Oh, you're still in. Come in. We sitting there talking and laughing. Oh, you made another cut. I mean, it's got down to the final cut. And then he came and said, "Eric, congratulations. You're in the Hall of Fame class of 1999. So I came out, you know, and you know, they had me. I was the only guy. I was the only guy there. So you know, I came out and talked about it, and that's how I found out.
Who was the first Hall of Famer that reached out? That was already a Hall of Famer that reached out to welcome you to the family.
Man, I don't remember. I had so many calls. I mean, I really don't know. I don't know. I think probably Jackie. Jackie wasn't in the Hall of Fame yet. Mm-hmm. Jackie Slater, because you know we played together. But there was so many guys that called me. You know, and at that time I think we even had text messages. They had pages at that time. Don't have pages anymore. But I had a lot of calls.
you look back on your career, obviously record-setting rushing season, been close to getting broken a few times, very close. But throughout all that, holding that record, how hard is it to have a high level of humility and stay humble when, everybody's looking at you? It's like, hey, this guy right here, still a record that may never be broken. How important is it for you to stay humble, have humility through all that? And how can the students sit in front of us today, take those lessons and apply them to their lives?
I mean, I gotta say, it's easy for me because that's how I was brought up. I mean, I'm from a small town in Texas, 2,000 people. It's probably many people in this high school in my hometown, and I just gotta say, you think about where I'm from, it doesn't happen for me. It doesn't happen for a kid from Seaton, Texas. And it happened for me because, I say God had a plan. And no matter through all the ups and downs, and it was a lot. Let me tell you something, it wasn't easy. It was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of struggles, frustration, they get messed over. You feel like getting messed over. But, at the end of the day, like I said, God had a plan and his plan worked out no matter, what anybody else thought. And I'm just blessed to be here. And my dad was, like I said, the most humble man I knew. And sometimes he was so humble. I'm like, he's so nice. Too nice. But now I kind of see that in myself. I mean, because, I've been through this. I was young, had, bad temper and stuff. You just learn patience over time is what it comes down to. And for me, I like that about me. I like, that I sign autographs, that I take pictures. That's who I am. I can't change that. That's the person that God made me, and I'm a reflection of my father. So I like it. I would tell any guy, girl, anybody in here that's listening to hear my voice, that always be that person, because people remember, they have memories. One little kids grow up, be adults. When a kid grow up like, you know what? I don't like him because when I was a kid, he didn't sign off or he shunned me. They don't forget. They don't forget. And you never know where you're going to wind up in this world. You may wind up sitting before that guy looking for a job. And that just happened for a friend of mine who, exactly what I'm talking about. God talked bad to him, really bad. Now, this guy is a millionaire. He said, he was just a hardworking guy, real estate guy. He said, that guy came to me for a job. He said, he don't remember me, but I remember him. So I would say, just be careful with that. Just try to be a good person. That's what I would tell you, and be humble.
Now, anybody that goes through their life, football career, there's moments of adversity that you got to get through. So when those moments struck for you, how did you get through those? How did you persevere through that adversity? First year of the program, first one of the program, got to get over the talking here and, come out on the other side.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I can tell you, I mean, it started really with my high school coach. Didn't like that man. I mean, we know what it is. That man, he was racist. He was racist. He'd never coached blacks before. To East Texas, came to my high school, our high school, and make a long story short, at one point, all the blacks quit. Every black player quit except one. Winston Brown stayed on the team. And I won't forget, it was like he would do stuff to us, the black kids, that was just so wrong. And even the white kids were like, man, that's not right, man. That's just wrong. And we all quit. And I won't forget, it was the summer, he came around and asked, my best friend called me, said, Eric, he said, man, Coach Harris been in your house? I said, no. He said, on his way. I'm like, what? He said, really? Come trying to get us all to come back to play. I said, let me think about that. So he came by, talked to me and my mother. And I won't forget my mom, because she was really quiet. She didn't say them. She was feisty. She didn't say nothing. She said, okay, we'll think about it. We'll think about it. So she said, I don't like you quitting sports. I don't like football. I don't like you quitting. And so that's the time that the guy James Abernathy, Shaq, came to talk to me about going back. Make a long story short, I went back and I played, and we won a state championship. Now, ain't no feel good story here. Still didn't like it. I was the #1 recruit in the whole nation, coming out of a little 2A town. I was first, Airway was second, Marino was third. That's how it laid out. Ooh. All three Hall of Fame, all three Hall of Fame guys. Won a state championship. He told coaches that if I didn't want to go to college, I wouldn't have no interest in college. But I told them, I don't need you. If they want me, they'll come to my house and get me. That's how bad it was with him. Mm-hmm. Fast forward, my NFL, my college career, pro career, about 5 years ago, I'm at home. Buddy of mine called me, hey, Eric. I said, hey, what's up, Dane? How you doing, man? He said, I'm good, man. He said, I got somebody want to say hi to you. I said, okay. He said, hey, Eric. As soon as I heard his voice, it was at high school. He said, hey, Eric, how you doing? I said, what's up, Ralph? He said, I'm good. I said, what can I do for you, man? He said, Eric, I just want to say something to you. I just want to say, I saw your NFL career, your college career, great job, graduation from the Hall. I said, man, thank you, man. He said, but I want to say this to you. I want to apologize to you. I want to apologize to all the guys for how I treated you guys. I'm like, man, I said, man, Ralph, thanks for saying that. I mean, because it did mean a lot for him to say that to me, because, as a kid, you think, kids, we ain't right out. You young. I never spoke up against adults, but him, I had to, because I thought they was wrong. And it was frustration. And this guy tried to stop me from going to college, because he told coaches that I wasn't interested in going to college. And I told him, I said, if they want me, they'll come to my house and get me. And they did. They came to my home and interviewed me, talked to me at home. So that just goes to show you that I'm telling you, these guys that you see it's in the Hall of Fame, the guys you see play basketball, football, baseball, whatever, actors and actors, great writers, everybody has had a struggle. And depending on what your struggle is, it could have been whatever. It could have been at home with the parents. It could have been a coach. It could have been a teacher trying to stop you. But my advice to you is, you have to, if you want to be great, you have to push through that.
I think that just goes to show how great that this game is.
Yeah.
And we are the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You played the game of football, so we're going to talk about football first. But it's truly anything. If it's band, if it's music, if it's any other sport, but football especially. And just, I think that example just goes to show how special and how powerful that this game can be.
Most definitely, for sure. I mean, it's a powerful game. It's the ultimate team sport. It's nothing like, because everybody depends on everyone. The kicker can't kick the ball unless the guy holds it. Mm-hmm. The running back can't run through the hole unless you have the guys up front. The quarterback can't throw it unless they block and have the receivers outside. It is the ultimate team sport.
Like Jerry mentioned, one guy, now a guy can have a great game, rush for 300 yards, but he can't do that without the offensive line, where, a guy in the NBA could go drop 80 and single-handedly, win a game. And it truly does make this sport so special. And there's such a great history, that comes with this game. Working at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I see that 40 hours a week. Every day I'm at the office, I see the history of the game. And there's so many different ways that the history is taught. You can take it a part of a program like this. You can go on a field trip. You can watch a TV show. And I think, and I'm getting to the question here. You got to do some stuff with Eli Manning on Eli's Places, and Peyton's got his show, Peyton's Places, talking about the history of football. In today's culture, with kids watching streaming everything, watching everything on their phones, how is it important, the work that Eli and Peyton are doing, to showcase the great history of the game?
Well, it gives the kids a chance to really learn about the game. I mean, really learn. Because when I was a kid, we didn't have no internet. We didn't have cell phones. I mean, you had to watch or read paper or watch TV or listen to the radio to learn about the different players of the game. Now a lot of young kids, they don't know, they wouldn't even know who I am. They could be 23 years old. Who is that? Never heard that, because you don't know the game. You don't know the game. You don't know the sport. If you want to know the sport, you have to learn about the sport. I mean, and learning about it means sometimes you don't have to love it. If you want to talk about football or if you want to play it, to me, you have to love football. You want to play that sport. But I think, in today's age, it's so much easier because you have a cell phone, because you have a computer, because you have the Xbox, it makes a player bigger than life. I mean, just like myself. I mean, I went to take my son, was looking at the elementary school, and I walked in, these little kids. And I could tell it was whispering, so I walk out. We walk out, my wife walked out. And the teacher comes and say, hey, Eric, do you mind coming back in and say, all these little boys, man, they play Xbox, and I'm like, they know me. I mean,
they know you because they play Madden.
They play Madden football. They know you. They say you the man on that. They have to, I guess, some kind of way have to get to me. I say, sure, I'll come back and take a picture with them. But just stuff like that, which just shows you how great this game really is, and how global that it has become. Football has become.
Yeah, I think 4 or 5 games across the pond now this year. Expanding the game.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that. Kevin Mawai, who we've done this program with a few times, when he was coaching at Arizona State, Today said his players only knew him because of Matt. And he would walk in the locker room and go, "Hey, I pulled your 98 card today, coach."
That's it. Yeah.
A few more wrapping up here. Be remiss if we didn't talk about, NFL season kicking off. Any outlooks? What you think? Big storylines this year, predictions for the end of the year. What you thinking?
Well, first of all, you never can make a prediction for a Super Bowl because it all comes down to injuries in football. Yep. I think also football for sure. I mean, if you have a great football team, like I'll use our team, like the Rams last year. We had all the talent, but you had some injuries along the way. If you get injuries can decimate your whole season. It really can. I'll go back to when the Giants played the Patriots in that Super Bowl that they won. The Giants started the season off. They were supposed to go to Super Bowl, or a Super Bowl contender. They got hurt early in the season, like week 2, 3. They had a lot of injuries, so stuff was not looking good for them. I think they went 9-7, limped into the playoffs. But by the end of the season, everybody was coming back healthy. That team was coming back healthy. Now a healthy Giants football team went and beat everybody thought was an unbeatable Patriots football team. I bet a guy straight up $100. They go. I don't even want the points. That's how confident I was at the healthy football team. So I think I look at our team, the Rams. We're healthy right now. Every team is pretty much healthy. We have a shot. I don't think that we're getting the credit that we deserve after winning the Super Bowl. It's almost like a slap in the face. It's like we're not an afterthought. Oh, the Bills, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, what about the Super Bowl champions? I mean, that's right. We have a lot of talent on this team in LA. I mean, a lot of talent. You have to have the stars. You got the Aaron Donald. You got the Matt Staffords. I was hoping we bring OBJ back. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I mean, we just signed.
I heard his locker's still open.
The locker's still open. We've got a lot of stars. We got Cooper Kupp. I mean, and like I said, Aaron Donald. But when you have those you have to have stars, but then you have the other guys that go along with it. And I just feel like, for me, and I'm not the homer type guy, but I feel like if we can stay healthy, we can repeat. But I'll say it again, we have to stay healthy. I mean, you got Tampa. Tampa's a good football team with Tom Brady. I mean, he's a good team.
Still
a good team. I mean, you have the team right up north. Can't stand them. 49ers, we hate them. Just like we hate the Giants. Hate the 49ers. That's a good football team. You have to call what you see. I call what I see. That's a team you cannot take for granted. So there's a lot of good football out there, but I can't make any predictions because I say it all comes down. I say about week 8 or 9, you'll have a good idea who's going to be in the
Awesome. All right. My last question here today, and then we'll wrap everything up. First and foremost, thank you again for being part of the program today. I was super excited. I hope all the students were as well. We've talked a lot of great things today, humility, persevering through adversity, having mentorship and the idea of being a mentor. If there's one piece of advice, one item you want all the students here in person, everybody we have tuned in, and even all of us at the Hall of Fame, what is that one piece of advice you want everybody to leave today with?
Well, I just like I'll give you 2 pieces. One thing my dad would always say, he'd say, son, it takes a second to get in trouble and a lifetime to get out. Now that sounds real quick, but think about that. You make one bad decision. Let's say I'm gonna go out. I'm going with my boy. We're gonna drink. We're gonna drive. We're gonna drive fast. You hit and kill somebody. Oh, your life is over with. Now you could be an assistant for the rest of your life. That didn't take long. It took like that. It's over. So you got to think. I know you're young, and I mean, I was young. Had fun too, but you got to be more responsible because it's a different day and age. But my main thing is, it goes back to what my father always said, son, all that you do with your might. Things done by halves are never done right. And if you do something 100%, you can never look back and say, you know what? Man, I wish I did that just a little bit harder. Man, I wish I'd have played just a little bit harder, man. Because now it's too late. You can't do it over. It's like I can't go back in my NFL career and run 47 gap again. So, I mean, even when times I was not happy with the Rams, the Colts, I mean, sometimes I was mad, playing mad. But you know what? I wasn't gonna let my team down. I'm gonna play hard no matter what. So that would be my advice to you. And no matter what it is, school, sports, whatever, I always give 100% at it.
All right. With that, we're going to wrap up this installment, the first one of the school year, of our Heart of a Hall of Famer series connected by Extreme Networks with Hall of Famer class of 1999, Mr. Eric Dickerson. Let's give him a big round of applause here today. Again, thank you so much for being a part of the program today. I hope, I left with some awesome advice. I hope all of our students here in person, everybody we have watching online or remotely, left with some great advice as well. We have so many more of these great programs coming up throughout the school year, and we hope you can be a small part of those and tune in for those as well. So for myself, Mr. Dickerson, and everybody tuned in here today, and from all of our great staff at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, thank you so much, and we hope to see you at our next program. Thank you, everybody.